How's it going, YouTube? This is Wake Run Collapse going audio only with a different type of video this time around. A while back, another PokeTuber named Jackie and TT tagged me in her video called the Pokemon Tag. At the time, I was in the middle of gathering all your questions and answering them, so it wasn't a good time for me to do this video, since a lot of the questions were duplicates. But recently, Pokemon Excavation did the tag video and re-tagged me, which served as a nice reminder about it. So Jackie, I'm sorry I didn't do it at the time, but here I am today, so let's go. Number 1, what is your favorite Pokemon? I don't really have one, which kinda works for me. There are lots of monsters that I really enjoy, and by not having a favorite, it allows me to enjoy the others more, because I don't compare them to one another that much. Number 2, what is your least favorite Pokemon? I don't really have a concrete least favorite here either, but Probopass, Emolga, and all the monkeys would definitely be in the running for this not-so-prestigious title. Number 3, do you watch the Pokemon movies? If so, what is your favorite one? I've only seen the first 3. Mewtwo Strikes Back was my favorite, but of course this is a really small subset of the total amount of movies that have been done, and it's been quite a while since I've watched them. In fact, I watched the first 3 in theaters when they came out. Perhaps at some point in the future, I'll have a series on my channel where I review all the Pokemon movies one by one. Number 4, how did you discover Pokemon? I met a couple of new friends when I was in 8th grade. They were sophomores because our high school had 5 years worth of students, and I met them because I was in chorus, which covered the entirety of high school. As a side note, I continued to be in chorus throughout high school, even taking it during lunch my senior year just to fit it into my schedule. Anyway, they were into Pokemon, and I wanted to join the club as it were, but as an added benefit, the concept of Pokemon really interested me. So I got into the games, then I started watching the anime, and the rest was history. Number 5, do you play the Pokemon games? If so, what was the first game you owned and what was your starter Pokemon in that game? My first game was Pokemon Red, which I played on a Game Boy Pocket when it came out. I was 13 and I brought it to school every day to play and get better. My starter Pokemon, of course, was Charmander, which eventually became Charizard, which was hilarious because the slash mechanism for Charizard in the first generation was extremely broken, and a critical hit happened basically all the time. And that made Charizard really powerful, and that was nice for me. Number 6, what is your favorite Pokemon card set? I'm going to have to go with the Furthest Ends of Offense and Defense, or EX Dragon Frontiers in English. The artwork is insane, and I love the Delta Species series. Any set that gives us a shiny Charizard and shiny Mew on top of that is amazing. By shinies, of course, I mean the gold stars. Number 7, do you consider yourself a Gen 1er? Not really, even though it was my first and favorite generation. I have enjoyed what each and every generation has added to the game, especially the Pokemon rosters, and I truly believe the games have continued to get better with each generation. The TCG is the same way. Even when it seems like they're running out of ideas, they consistently have been able to diversify and bring new stuff to the table. And even when it doesn't work out perfectly, it widens the scope of the Pokédex, and that's always cool. Number 8, what is your favorite type of Pokemon? I'd say that Dark type is generally my favorite because it has a lot of my favorite Pokemon like Umbreon, and Houndoom, and Hydreigon. I also really like Ice, Dragon, and Water types. Number 9, would you ever play Yu-Gi-Oh? Probably not. I don't really know much about it, but I never got into it, so it's unlikely that I'd be able to go back and catch up with it. Being into Pokemon is time-consuming enough when I already have a full-time job and my regular life to deal with, so Yu-Gi-Oh will probably never happen for me. Number 10, what is your favorite Pokemon item that you own? Well, right now it's this awesome fan that I got as a freebie from Poly100 off of eBay. I bought some stuff from him recently, and we got to talking, and he was awesome enough to send it my way. You'll see it in a future video, I'm sure of it. Number 11, do you prefer Pokemon X or Y? I'm going to go with X. I like both Xerneas and Yveltal, but I like the color scheme and style of Xerneas a little better. I own both games, but so far I've only played X, which is the game that I bought at launch. Don't ask me to compare the version exclusives because I don't know them. I just don't remember them. Number 12, what is your favorite Pokemon sidekick in the Pokemon anime? Gonna have to stick with Pokemon Excavation's answer on this one and go with Misty and Brock. I never watched the anime after Season 2, so it's hard to count someone else as a favorite, so Misty and Brock are my favorites. Number 13. Have you ever cosplayed as a Pokemon or a character from Pokemon? I have not. I'm fine with dressing up for stuff, but I've never done it for Pokemon. If I were going to do it, I'd want to go 100%, and I don't see myself dedicating the time and funds to do that. Really, the only dressing up that I would do would be for work and the occasional Halloween party, and I'm not really sure that that's worth my while. I'm more likely to get a carrot onesie because I can wear that outside of work and that kind of thing. Number 14, how much longer do you think Pokemon is going to last? I'd say a long time. I see absolutely no reason why it would die off in the next 5 to 7 years. I honestly think they would need to have a drastic change in what people play for video games to threaten it at all. If the Nintendo handhelds start dropping in sales and dying off, that would likely be the biggest threat to Pokemon's livelihood. We still haven't seen a major console jump and it hasn't been necessary, so I guess we'll see what happens. And last but not least, number 15, what do you hope Pokemon is going to do next? I honestly don't know. Their game ideas are always better than mine. I'd love for them to use old school characters as full arts in the TCG and to include tons more non-legendaries as EX cards, much like they did for the lowercase EX cards in the 3rd generation. As long as they keep trying and continue to produce amazing cards for my collection, and they have really been doing that lately, I'm going to be a happy collector and a happy fan of Pokemon. So hey, that was actually pretty fun. I'm not going to tag anyone specific because this is generally not my kind of thing, but suffice it to say that anyone who wants to do this Pokemon tag is more than welcome, and I look forward to all of your answers. Thank you everybody for watching.